Hey, I'm Sam, and it is just after 6 o'clock on a Sunday morning, and I woke up at, God, I don't know, with the daylight, so four-ish maybe, and as usual, the same process at work, in my dreams. Dreams I once would refer to as nightmares, but they're not nightmares. They're just clear seeing, they're truthful seeing. And so after the last video, I went through the same process I go through after every video, and still going through it now. And I feel pain. I see more clearly what my words reveal. And so this week I've been haunted again. And I know what this is about now. I know why I'm going through it. I know what it's about. And I know what I need to do. And so it's funny, I said a couple of things in the last video that just came to me in my dreams. And one of them was that I was born into a situation of, it was very difficult. But in the last video, I said something I've never said before. I said extreme pain, both physical and emotional, extreme. And that really came back to me in my sleep over the next 2 nights. Extreme pain. But the pain I feel is not the pain of those memories. It isn't. The pain I feel after every video isn't the pain of the past. It's the pain of attachment to an identity that's too small. The identity that needs to retell the same story. Now moving from pain to extreme pain. Saying, no, I need to hold on to this. This is what happened. So with mind, with certainty, I can say I know. This is me. This is why I'm me. This is what happened. This is what made me. This story that I tell again and again. And that certainty reduces and confines and corrals attention into the outer self, the worldly self, the self that feels pain, the self that has desires and fears, the self that suffers. And that's why I feel pain. Because that self needs the pain. But I think that we are essentially unknowable. And when I say essentially, I mean in essence. What lives through us and within us is unknowable because it comes from beyond the material. That reality behind this one that I spoke of in the last video. And I think of that reality as the source of all being. It's God. And when we try and confine ourselves into what we know with our mind, we prevent that mystery living within us, the mystery that we are. And the shift I'm feeling is, very powerful, very powerful. And, I've experienced a letting go this week. A letting go of stories and desires and fear. And what is there when all of that is gone? or fading. There is the mystery, a mystical presence that calls me. So what is a mystic? It's a person that seeks knowledge of reality beyond the intellect. Because you can't talk about it. You can't speak about it without reducing it. But you can know it. You can know the unknowable. You can know it in your heart, in your intuition, in your soul. And so silence is the only real way to communicate it. But you can embody it by placing your attention into your intuition and the presence of that mystery within the world and within you. And when we say, this is me, this is my story, this is what happened to me, this is why I am the person I am, this is what I am. It's not it. You are placing the worldly self in the way of the mystery living within you. That's what I've been doing. So in my efforts to say, what is this pain? Where does it come from? Who am I? Why am I? That hunger to arrive at a place of certainty, all that did was it just confined me into an ever smaller space of pain. As I said a couple of videos ago, what did I find? What did I find? I found stories. I found strategies. I found pain. I found memories and experiences. And I found an identity that is one and the same with all of those elements. 'Tis the structure of its being. But that is not me. That's the events of a life. The story, the sense-making story. Well, I have a better sense-making story now. And that sense-making comes from the understanding that this is a mystical awakening. And there are stages to that mystical awakening. The first is awareness of the limitations and the triviality and selfishness of worldly identity that sees everything as separate and itself as a discrete, autonomous object that needs control, looking for stability where there is none. And then the letting go of that need for certainty and the awakening of the mystery, the unknowable mystery, yet felt, known with the heart. Awareness of God, the theophany of it all. And with a listening ear and a listening heart, to pay attention to that presence in that conversation as it deepens and carries you away. And that's what I've been resisting with my need for certainty. My traumatized brain of a child. When I was a child, I spoke as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. It is childish to place yourself at the center of your life. The use of your will to serve self just creates pain and isolates you further. But to use will to surrender and become a part of something greater than yourself and allow that mystery to live you. As Thomas Merton says, it is not we that awaken ourselves, it is God that awakens us. And I feel that mystery living within me. I didn't want to let go of my plans. I didn't want to let go of my need for safety. I didn't want to let go of that. Plans set the future into the known. But if I place God at the centre of my life, I can still have plans. But my plans are about knowing that mystery as intimately as possible. I'm going to read something. This book, read poetry. Read poetry, it will make your life better. So I came to poetry about 10 months ago, and those people that have been with me for a while will remember that I took the channel down and deleted loads of material. And when I came back, I was talking about different things, and I think I made a video, Detransition, Surrender and Return. And I read from this book, I think. But this book really was the beginning of the next stage that's now sort of entering a new stage again. And poetry has helped me immeasurably. And I picked up this book knowing that I wanted to read something. And this poem was where the bookmark was. So it's a bit dark here. Okay. In that first, hardly noticed moment in which you wake, coming back to this life from the other, more secret, movable, and frighteningly honest world where everything began, there is a small opening into the day that closes the moment you begin your plans. What you can plan is too small for you to live. What you can live wholeheartedly will make plans enough for the vitality hidden in your sleep. To become human is to become visible, while carrying what is hidden as a gift to others. To remember the other world in this world is to live in your true inheritance. You are not a troubled guest on this earth. You are not an accident amidst other accidents. You were invited. You were invited from another and greater night than the one from which you have just emerged. And that's not the whole poem. You have to buy the book if you want to read the whole poem. So, what do I talk about? So this whole journey has been led by intuition, the hunger that I mistook for certainty, a certainty about identity that I had to discard, but I had to know it as intimately as I could before I could say, okay, that's not me. And then I could accept what is me. And I've spoken quite a lot over the last couple of years and just used language that I didn't really understand what it meant, but it just felt right. And this man puts it into words beautifully, everything I've said for the last 2 years into one poem. In that first hardly noticed moment in which you wake, coming back to this life from the other, more secret, movable and frighteningly honest world where everything began. So that's what I wake from every night, in that frightening honesty. And I see the ugliness and pettiness of my own selfish identity. And I know that surrender is a welcome relief. What you can plan is too small for you to live. When you plan with the worldly self and its needs and its flaws, it's always going to be too small because you're living in a world that you want to control. Feeding your needs. But there is one need only for me now, and that is knowledge of that mystery. Everything's secondary to that now. To become human is to become visible, Visible to what though? I tried to become visible my whole life. To be seen. How many times have I said that? To be seen. To know that I'm here. To bring me into reality and say, okay, you see me, I must be here, I must be real. Not that isolated little boy. Hungered for that attachment. That's not what that means. You become visible to the world, visible to God, visible to reality. But to become visible to reality, you must be real yourself, not the ideas inside your own mind. That's not visible. That's a story too small. Remember, the other world in this one is to live your true inheritance. The world before this, the essential realm from which everything emerges. The divine source of being that lives through us, not the world of forms. This is symbolic. Symbolic of an essential truth that lives within us. You are not a troubled guest in this world. You are not a troubled guest on this earth. You are not an accident amidst other accidents. You were invited from another and greater night than the one from which you have just emerged. This life is a gift. This life is a gift, but it is not ours. It comes from the source of being. What is a gift is our will. We can choose to live our life for ourselves and make a world that's so small. A world of our needs and fears and desires. Or we can say, okay, where did I come from? What is that mystery that calls me? And then surrender and say, oh, I'll be a part of that unfolding mystery within me. What do you surrender? What do I lose? What do I lose? Nothing. Actually, I just remembered something. I'm going to read another poem. This poem was the first poem I read when I bought this book. I'm not going to read it all, I'm just going to read the first couple of verses. And these are the first words of this book. Start close in. Don't take the second step. Or the third. Start with the first thing close in. The step you don't want to take. Bless you all for watching. Have a lovely Sunday, and I'll see you soon.